there. Welcome to the YouTube channel called Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And my goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a specific film. So the specific film I'm reviewing today is called Love in Taipei. This rom-com in Asia will be released on streaming on August 10th, 2023. The film is PG-13 and is an hour and 35 minutes long. My overall movie review mom grade is a B+. I thought it was super sweet and cute. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I know that's unusual for a film critic to give the score at the very beginning. So keep watching, don't click away. Let me explain. I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines, and recommendations for other films that I instantly thought of as I was watching this one that I think you'll also really like. All right, so in a nutshell, directed by Arvin Chen, this story is about a group of American teens with Asian heritage experiencing Taiwan for 8 weeks during the summer break. Love in Taipei follows a young woman's cultural immersion program in Taiwan, and it turns out to be a liberating free-for-all known as Love Boat, where unexpected romance leads her to question her future. Based on the best-selling book, Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen, this is a fun romp in Asia. On a personal note, my daughter-in-law is Chinese. She's from Hong Kong. And now I have an adorable grandson who is half Chinese, half Caucasian. Asian women are so beautiful. Here are some pictures of her and my son and her on their wedding day. Such a cute couple. All right, so I definitely was interested, needless to say. Here's a list of things that I really liked about this film. The starlet of the film is Ashley Liao, possibly new to viewers. And she was new to me, even though she has been in quite a few movies, including Fresh Off the Boat, which got a 94% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. She is just lovely and so talented. Other cast members include Ross Butler, Nico Hiraga, Chelsea Zhang, and Cindy Chung. People will learn a lot more about Taiwan and be introduced to their language, dance, art, music, architecture, and even street food. It's definitely on my list of amazing places to go. I was really excited about the movie Joyride because I knew it was going to also showcase China and Chinese culture. However, it was so raunchy that I only lasted for about 15 minutes. And I probably shouldn't have even lasted that long. It was just so filthy and crude and unnecessarily raunchy. This film is so much sweeter and appropriate, and you still definitely get a big taste of Taiwan and the Chinese culture in general. The film was shot on location in Taipei. We get to hear some familiar American tunes with the lyrics sung in Mandarin, as well as a few Chinese songs that I wasn't familiar with. So what girl doesn't want two handsome boys falling all over her who are crazy about her to choose from? Yeah, we get a little love triangle in the story. So of course, girls are going to like this. My husband always laughs at these kinds of girl triangle movies where it's one girl and two guys, vying for her attention and trying to get her to fall in love. So it's a fun romance kind of fantasy in that regard. Now, there were some things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done better. For example, it seems kind of unlikely that a girl whose parents immigrated from Taiwan wouldn't speak even a little bit of Mandarin. Now, my little Asian grandson is growing up in America, but his ancestry is from China. And I want him to be able to understand and know his culture. And so he's only 2 years old, but his mom and my son are planning on putting him in a Mandarin immersion school in about a year, when he's in preschool. And I think that's a fantastic idea. And I've been trying to learn Mandarin. I'm terrible at it. But when he starts school, I'm going to start again and hunker down because I want to be able to actually speak to him in Mandarin. I mean, he speaks English, but he's learning a little bit of Mandarin. Anyway, the bottom line is, I think it's important to celebrate and honor your heritage. Another thing about this film is that it is pretty doggone predictable. It follows the classic coming of age tale of a young woman trying to become independent and discover what she truly wants in this world and where she belongs in this world. But the adventure and the journey is very cute. So let me give you some tips for parents. There is some light profanity. Teens break curfew rules to go clubbing on one particular night, and then they make it a habit and they're kind of off having all of these other adventures in the evening when they're supposed to be in their, not quite a dorm room, but something like that. There is some alcohol. Now, it's also mentioned that some of these are not just teenagers, but 21-year-old students who have gone to college and are now venturing into law school or medical school or something like that. So I appreciated the fact that they pointed out that they were 21 and could legally drink, just saying. All right, so some of the themes that are illustrated very well are parents' expectations, following your dreams, supportive parents, family, romance, of course, money, appearances, choices in life, and finding happiness. Now, one of the other storylines is appearances and how there are some students who are very well off and then others who, their parents saved a lot of money for many years just so their child could go to this special Asian immersion type of camp. And there are some moments where characters have to decide, do they want to put on appearances or are they just who they are? And they have to readily admit it and not be embarrassed by it. And that's always tricky, I think, especially for young people, because they're not rich or poor because of their own merits, but because of their parents. And yet you're an extension of your parents and their success. You know what I mean? Anyway, I thought that they handled it actually really well. Now, I'm going to share an interesting line. Whenever I watch movies, I always try to write down funny lines and interesting lines, just so you can get a taste for the script writing quality, the dialogue. Now, I didn't write down any funny lines. The movie does have some humor, but it's not a laugh out loud comedy in that regard. But an interesting line that I wrote down is spoken by Sophie, who's played beautifully by Chelsea Zhang. And she says, "This isn't the 90s. Everyone knows Asians are cool now." And I guess you could say that's a funny line, but it's also true. And I don't know when Asians weren't cool. Well, I do during World War II, obviously. But I grew up in California. We had plenty Asians growing up. And they were always the smart kids, the good looking kids, the cool kids. And so, anyway, I'm glad the rest of the country's caught up with that. So, now let me give you some recommendations for some other movies that I instantly thought of. The first one is Crazy Rich Asians. If you haven't seen that one, that is a lot of fun. And you get to look at crazy Asians and crazy rich Asians in a rom-com type of a show. Another is an animation, and it's called Wish Dragon. And the reason I mention this is because you get to travel through China throughout this animated adventure, and it's also very sweet. And then another one is Mulan. Now, the original cartoon from Disney was one of the very first, if not the very first, Asian princess, Chinese specifically princess that we ever got to see, right? And then they had the remake with live action. And I enjoyed both of them, although I hear that there were those in China who did not like the live action, that they said it really wasn't true to the legend of Mulan. But regardless, I enjoyed both of those versions. And I say, bring on more Chinese immersion movies so we can get to know that culture, because, of course, I'm personally invested with my family. All right. I hope if you watch this movie that you get a kick out of it. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. And by the way, if you want to join and be a member of Movie Review Mom, click down below and you can learn a little bit more about some of the special stuff that you get if you join. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.